Hey everyone, we're back. This is Dan Tony Sports. I'd like to thank you all for listening. As always, I am Dan Snyder, joined right now by Dan Beebe and Tony Casper. Dan O'Shea is going to be joining us in a few minutes, but first, gentlemen, how are you guys doing tonight?
Doing well. Happy Hump Day! Special edition!
Oh yeah, special edition is special because last night we had an event that a couple of us went to that ended up not being such a fruitful event like we had thought, but still a fun one. Went to the open house, for the new Albany Arena Football League team. Still don't know the name. It's either going to be the Fire, the Empire, the Phoenix,
or the Machine.
All the names suck except for Empire.
They're not very good.
No, but
to say the least.
But it's high quality football coming to the Capital Region, starting play next March, actually. And it's going to be a great time. So, without further ado, let's get into our actual episode. We're going to start with our pigskin poetry like we always do. This one's called, How Bad Are the Redskins? Now, just how bad are the Redskins? Was that their true selves in that Dallas game? If that was the best they had, then that was a crying shame. Maybe Cousins isn't who we thought he was. Maybe their defense is really bad. But either way, as a Cowboys fan, I ain't mad. The Redskins helped the Cowboys, but more so hurt themselves. This inexcusable loss to Dallas may have put their season on a shelf. The playoffs are getting close. You cannot lose like that. What was promise and hope has now fallen flat. But was this the plan all along? For a giant egg to be laid? A final stick it to the man for Cousins not getting paid? Well, he's gone next year, and I hope he brags about being the new quarterback for the Super Bowl champion Jags. Man, Kirk Cousins getting the shaft. He doesn't even want the money. He just wants the stability. He just wants a job.
Yeah, but I mean, are we surprised by Washington doing this? I mean, it shouldn't. I don't think that should surprise us. This seems like typical Washington from what I can gather. So, I mean,
that is a good point. I mean, they do still have the most racist name in all sports.
I mean, well, they've dragged him along for so long that it's not like he can't expect this.
He's one of the very few NFL players to be franchised twice and possibly a third time.
Yeah, he gets franchised a third time.
He automatically becomes the highest paid quarterback.
Well, it's an astronomical price that they have to pay, and at that point, you might as well have given him a 6-year contract or whatever he wanted 2 years ago.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. He is obviously a quality quarterback. Is he the best quarterback in the NFL? No.
No. I don't think anybody's going to accuse him of such.
He's not in the top 5. Is he a quarterback that's going to play well and win you games? Absolutely.
Is he a starter? Without a doubt.
Is he the legit question, is he one of the top half starting quarterbacks in the NFL? Top 16.
I think he falls in the realm where you need to consider his name when you're making the list. If he falls out just outside of it, it's not far, but he could be in an argument without a doubt.
I honestly think, based on his talent, he could be a top 10 quarterback in the NFL.
He could be. I mean, look at what he's done now with what he's had. I mean, he hasn't had... It's not like we've seen him with exceptional wide receivers. I mean, he had, Deshaun Jackson for a little while?
He's got Terrell Pryor now.
Right, but these aren't...
Sorry, Terrell Pryor Sr.
Mm-hmm. Okay. These aren't guys who are going to light up the stat column as wide receivers. Yet, he continues to be successful, regardless.
Yeah. I think it's a very good point. Like I said, I think he's a high-quality quarterback. I think he deserves to get paid. I don't know if he's as good as Matthew Stafford, but he's in the same realm.
Oh, he's also younger than Stafford is. So, I mean, there's that to consider. I mean, at this point, you've drudged him along for 3 years. The amount of money if you do sign him to another franchise tag, you've got him 3 years at more money than you probably would have spent if you just agreed to the 6-year contract in total.
Absolutely. You could definitely have gotten Kirk Cousins on a 6-year contract. I don't even like 6-year contracts. Let's go with 4. 4 years, $75 million. I think that's more than fair for both sides.
I think that he was looking for a 5 or a 6. That was the issue.
I could see 5.
They weren't willing to give him a 5 or a 6, and that's where his gripe was, and then he stuck to his guns. And if you're him, why not? I mean, they're still going to pay you, and astronomically now they're paying you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I just want to point out, guys, if we sound different at all, it is because I am still getting over this cold. My voice is very shaky. I can feel it. I can hear it. The reason we didn't have an episode last week is because I'm an idiot and got sick.
No, we had multiple men down. Don't lay it on your doorstep.
But I'm happy to be back to approximately 75-80% so that we could do this show for you tonight. Now that we're done talking about Kirk Cousins for the moment, let's basically just lay out what it is that we're going to be talking. We're going to be talking college football, particularly the bowl games. We're not going to make our predictions, I don't think. We'll discuss that when we get to that part. Mm-hmm. But the bowl games are just the most ridiculous names I've ever heard are coming through as bowl games now. So we're going to talk that. We're going to talk NFL in terms of Ben McAdoo and Jerry Reese. Also in terms of the sport, the scores of the games. And we're also going to talk about the college football coaching carousel. So I think we're going to have a lot of fun stuff to talk about tonight. You guys ready?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get started with college football. Now, oh goodness, the bowl games. Did you gentlemen take a good look at the names of the bowl games this year?
I did not, other than the ones that you've brought to my attention, but I'm about to pull them up. I'm sure it's going to be a laugh factory.
Oh my God. Some of them are so bad it's not funny. Absolutely so bad it's not funny. As we're joined now by Dan O'Shea. Dan, you came in at the perfect time. We're just now getting to the craziness that is naming college football bowl games.
Who pays the most?
Yeah. Well,
for the most part.
Yeah. We'll get to the names in just a moment. We'll let you take a seat. I'm gonna wait for that. Just preface this with these are some of the absolute dumbest names I have ever heard for bowl games in my life, and we are going to go through the name of every single bowl game.
Okay.
And we're going to dissect and mock the entire list of games. So, the first one is the R&L Carrier New Orleans Bowl, which features Troy versus North Texas.
What's the name of this again?
R&L Carriers New Orleans Bowl.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, well, it's been around for a couple years. That one is one that's a little bit more normal, in my opinion, than some of the ones we're going to talk about here coming up next. Auto Nation Cure Bowl, featuring Western Kentucky and Georgia State. That's a new one.
Okay.
Cure Bowl?
That's
Cure Bowl.
C-U-R-E. That's
Was
what
it sponsored by Susan G. Komen?
Auto Nation. Yeah.
Makes perfect sense.
Don't know
Yep.
what they're curing, but okay.
Curing bad cars? I don't know. Your typical Las Vegas Bowl. No issue there.
No surprise there.
That's Boise State versus Oregon. Oh, man, I hope someone gets punched. I hope someone gets punched. Is that bad?
That seems like a good game, actually.
Do you remember who it was that got that did the punching?
No.
LeGarrette Blunt.
No.
Oh,
Well,
of course. Really.
The name of the guy that he punched was Hout.
One of them
I don't remember.
made it successful into the NFL.
And the other played at Boise State.
Yeah. No Taggart at that game.
We're gonna get to that. We're gonna go through the whole coaching carousel.
Yeah.
And
well, Taggart,
just a little bit.
I was more forgiving with before I heard some of these players talking about how he made them, promises and has not fulfilled them at all. And listeners, apologize if you hear this crinkling. It's me having throat drops because I have a sore throat.
Yeah, I already.
All these guys.
It is that time of year.
Yeah, we already went through and talked about how my voice is still shaky. I've got some Ricola here, the original herb flavor Ricola.
I went with the Burt's Bees.
I don't like Burt's Bees.
Well, as you can see, we're not sponsored by them, so.
Yeah. Yet! We are not sponsored yet!
Reach out, Burt's Bees representatives. Dan will change his tune.
We know you're dying. We know you're dying. All right, so that was a typical
out to cough drops.
Yeah, I guess so. But that was one of the more normal named bowl games. Getting back to what we were talking about.
Yeah, what else we got?
We got the Gildan, New Mexico Bowl, which doesn't feature a team from New Mexico, but okay.
Crappy shirts.
Yeah. Marshall versus Colorado State. I just want to say, Marshall holds a dear spot in our heart because the head coach of the Marshall Thundering Herd men's basketball team is named Dan Tony.
No, of course. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We were obviously named that first, but we won't charge him with copyright
No, we won't.
or something.
And we're hoping he doesn't charge us. Dan Antoni does not support the stealing of people's names.
In no way, shape, or form.
Except ours.
Total coincidence there.
Yeah, total coincidence. Spelled differently, very different, much difference. His has an I at the end and an apostrophe after the D. We're absolved of any wrongdoing. Mm-hmm. I mean, we can't get in trouble. My name's Dan. Your name's Dan. His name's Tony. We just combine our names.
Yeah, we're just very unoriginal.
Yeah. Fun. All right. The next bowl game is the Raycom Media Camellia Bowl, featuring Middle Tennessee State and Arkansas State.
That sounds like a sexually transmitted disease.
It's not the only one that does.
I don't doubt that.
Next, we've got the Super Gonorrhea Bowl.
Pretty close. Next is the Cheribundi Tart Cherry Boca Raton Bowl.
Yeah, say that 5 times fast.
Let me just repeat that. Cheribundi Tart Cherry Boca Raton Bowl, featuring Akron and Florida Atlantic. Just what we need Lane Kiffin going to Boca Raton.
Yeah, right. That's just a recipe for disaster.
Yeah. Then we got the DXL Frisco Bowl, which features Louisiana Tech and Southern Methodist University. Mm-hmm. One of the creepiest sounding names, the Bad Boy Mowers Gasparilla Bowl, between Florida International and Temple.
And Kill Ball.
Yeah, the Bad Boy Mowers Gasparilla Bowl. What the hell is that? I don't understand what I just said.
Bad Boy Mowers.
Is it Bad Boy for life?
Bad men that mow their lawn. I mean, come on.
Then we've got the Bahamas Bowl. UAB making a bowl game, 8-4 this season. Remember we predicted they'd get like 3 wins?
Yeah.
Well, they proved us wrong, and then they got absolutely spanked by Florida. But it's okay. It's their first year back from suspension. Or not suspension. I got suspension of program.
Yeah.
After that, you have the famous Idaho Potato Bowl between Central Michigan and Wyoming, which, by the way, ESPN had listed at 110-point spread. Yeah. Yep. Wyoming.
Wonder what the odds are on that.
Wyoming's a 110-point favorite over Central Michigan. That's not true. That's the betting line, but ESPN needs to be more consistent with what they show in their spread line. After that's the Birmingham Bowl, which I'm perplexed doesn't feature Alabama Birmingham, but whatever. That's Texas Tech in South Florida, which I don't get that pairing.
Yeah.
Texas Tech